Hello. Welcome to another week of reading. I literally just filmed the last clip for this week's vlog. It is Monday, and let me tell you, it's been a good Monday, which is, I'm not complaining, but you know, Mondays typically are not the best. They usually have a little bit like of a rough start to them, but I felt very productive today. I really have. Now, I'm having patron sprints right now, and we are doing our first and probably last sprint of the night. I feel like Mondays for us is just usually like time to catch up with what's been happening throughout the week. And so we've been talking about everything under the sun. I am trying to think of like what I want to get done this week in terms of reading. I always film these introduction clips like late at night when I know good and well 9 times out of 10 I'm probably not going to read anything before like I go to bed. Like the likelihood of me reading something is probably slim. So I did go to con. You'll know that if you watched the last vlog. I went to con. And I went to a con, I should say, and I picked up some manga, which, Tommy, stop it, which I did show in that video. This is the last full week before 30 and 30 starts for the month of September, so I'm trying to mentally prepare myself for that. I'm hoping to film a sit-down video probably tomorrow night when I don't have anything outside of kiddos after school activities. I'm hoping to sit down and do a sit down video that will hopefully go up on Thursday of this week of my TBR possibilities for 30 and 30, some recommendations, whatever. Now, as far as what I want to read this week, that's a completely different situation. I am currently reading some non-graphic novels, manga stuff, like Keeper of the Lost Cities, and listening to some audiobooks, but I do want to get some of my stuff in this week, like some reading done this week. And I know last week, like I had talked about a couple of things. Like I had brought up a case study of, this is called A Case Study of Vanitas, which is, I've talked about this, I'm not super familiar with that. I talked about Skip and Loafer, which I do need to read because I feel like somebody has holes in that. I talked about Our Dreams at Dusk at one point, and I talked about A Business Proposal. So those are still kind of up for grabs. But I also have, let me tell y'all, it's a mess. I also have the second volume of Dungeon Club, and I loved the first one, which was Roll Call. I read it last year and loved it. This is the second one, Time to Party. I do have to write a blog post for work this week, and one of the books that I had featured or wanted to feature was this, so I actually may try to start that tonight. I also need to read the second volume of The Cursed Princess Club because that has a hold on it. It's not going to be finished tonight. Like, that's not going to happen. Not in a million years. Because at some point, like, I do have to sleep. And I woke up a little later than usual this morning and kind of had to, like, rush us out the door, and I don't want to do that. So, if anything, I may read this D&D. It is the weekend of Labor Day, so that means that I'm going to have a longer weekend, which I'm not mad about. I'm not mad at it. But, oh, hold on. I do need to show y'all this. Hold on. Okay, so I did start reading this manga, and I didn't mark it as currently reading on Goodreads. I need to because I messed up with Delicious in Dungeon and read it and forgot to even review it because I didn't mark it as currently reading on Goodreads. I think I just get so anxious about having so many things as currently reading that I will read stuff and then just not even keep track of it, which it's fine. Like, I don't know. I don't necessarily have to track everything. I haven't tracked everything that I've read this year, but I did start Medalist, and I'm enjoying it. I like the world of figure skating, but this is super intense because the main character that's in this little girl, she gets bullied a lot, Inori is her name. Her mom is horrible to her. Like, her mom is so horrible to her. And I guess it's based off of like her sister's experience figure skating. So I should start at the beginning and tell you what this book is about. So it's about this little girl by the name of Inori. She's 11 and she wants to figure skate, but by like Japan, like just figure skating in general, but particularly this is taking place in Japan, and she wants to do competitive skating. Like, she's too old to start at this point according to just what is societal standards at what age. Like, she should have started at like age 5, and instead here she is, you know, at age 11 wanting to figure skate. And so she meets this this guy who used to do figure skating, just Tsukasa. Listen, I'm not here to say that I know everybody's name perfectly, but he almost made it big but didn't quite get there until like he agrees to be her coach. So I'm interested in seeing where this one ends up going. Like I said, I'm not like super far into it, but I did like what I have read. Like, I like the art, I'm liking the storytelling. I'm just like, dang, she just gets bullied so much, but I can't be that far into this. And of course, no page numbers, so I can't tell you how far. I'm probably about this far in, so that one is working for me. I still haven't read A Sign of Affection, volume 4. So I do need to get on my journey. And then Curse Princess Club is another one that I need to read because I loved volume 1 so much. I love volume 1 so much. And I need to pick up volume 2. And I'm debating on whether I want to collect Curse Princess Club myself at this point. They're just so expensive. It's $19 for one, which I get it. I understand the full color, the printing in colors a lot. So if anything, I will say, let's say that this is this week's TBR. This is the TBR. If I get some lighting and get a good thumbnail. But yeah, these 4 definitely for the week. We'll see how much I make it through though. I have some mail that should be coming soon for some stuff that I got myself. We'll see. But I just wanted to do an intro clip and not wait to do an intro clip after like 15 minutes of B-roll, because that's what I did last week, and that's somewhat unfortunate, but here we are. Welcome to another vlog, y'all. Because I feel like y'all will, I don't know if there's a mic there. I'm just being extra. So I wanted to do a very, very quick check-in because I haven't done a check-in since the intro. of this vlog, and it is Wednesday, so I wanted to kind of give a brief update on what's going on. I actually have my, what's it called? My book club that's happening in like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I said 10, I actually have 5. So I read the 3 parts of the Tea Dragon Society for book club. I am going to talk a little bit more about those when I do a more formal check-in, but I do want to let you guys know that I did read those 3 volumes. I am still making my way through Skip and Loafer Volume 2. I think that should be in some B-roll footage, but what I wanted to show y'all, something that I'm starting this week, because why not? I watched like a 50-minute breakdown of Danmei last night before bed, and I am going to be reading my first one. This one is The Husky and His White Cat Shizon. I know I said that with a French accent. That's wild. That's absolutely wild. Shizon. I'm probably saying this so wrong, and I'm not going to even attempt to butcher the creator's name. This is my first Danmei, and I'm very, very excited for it. I know that there are some content warnings for this. I have a friend that's read this and really, really enjoyed it and is really, really into Danmei right now, and told me that I need to start it. I can't tell you anything about this right now because I literally read like 2 or 3 pages of this last night, and the introduction to it was absolutely insane. So I am excited to pick this up and work my way through it. I was thinking for 30 and 30, I might try to kind of challenge myself to read maybe 2 or 3 Danmei. It depends. If I like these enough, I will start collecting them, but I wanted to try it from the library first because, listen, y'all know how I am. It don't even change up whether I'm on this channel or whether I was on the other channel. I really, really like to read my stuff from the library first before I start buying it, because I hate putting money into things and then I end up not liking it, because then to me it feels like a waste of money, and then even if I resell, I'm never going to get the full value for what I had originally bought the item for. So I am going to try this one out. Last night I also was kind of like brain fried, and I just wanted to watch some anime, and I did end up starting or continuing my watch of Nana, which is available on Hulu. Y'all know I absolutely love Nana, like love it. And then I was talking to someone last night about Nana and Food Wars, and they completely let me like geek out, which I absolutely love. But it really got me wanting to restart each series, and I know y'all are like, you're so sick of hearing me talk about Nana and Food Wars, because that's all I talk about, like all the time. But I was thinking, because one of the challenges to this year or this round for 30 and 30 is to read like 10 volumes from the same series. I really, this is my opportunity to get far in both series. But honestly too, at the same time, they're both very, very text heavy, so I have to pace myself accordingly if I want to do something like that. But man, I really do have enough time. It's September. I'm just gonna go ahead and say September because we're at the end of August. It's September. I have 4 months, y'all. I can really make a dent in both series this year if I just give it my all and give it my energy. But we'll see what happens. I'm about to go ahead and set up for this live show. Because each one of these volumes is super short and they're very art heavy, I highly doubt I'll be doing this live show for a very long period of time. This is probably going to be one of the shorter live shows. Plus, I've had a long day, not a bad day, just a long day. Very like mentally and physically kind of like engaged in a lot of things today. And so I am really, really worn out. So once this live show is over with, I am going to definitely shower and maybe read a little bit, and then I gotta hit the sack, man. I really do. I was going to possibly film my 30 and 30 TBR possibilities, but I'm probably not gonna do that till tomorrow night. I actually did not get home tonight until like closer to 7 o'clock, and I've been up since 6, so I'm tired. So yeah, that didn't happen the way that I had. Something came up and things didn't go the way that I planned, but that's okay. It's fine. It's life. It happens. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, set up for this live show, and I probably won't check in with y'all again tonight, but definitely will check in with y'all at some point tomorrow. To be Deadly Class. Deadly Class is the biggest thing that we have for the rest of this year. And that's because we're doing Deadly Class Book 1, but that's not until September. I mean, not until December. Everything else, I think, is, in terms of mounts, content, I feel like is a little bit more easygoing. So next month for September, our meeting will be on, pulling up a calendar really quickly. It's going to be on September 25th because that's the last Wednesday of the month. We're going to be reading Ban Book Club by Kim Suk, which was a very intentional move because Ban Books Week is in September, and so I just thought, because I'm pretty sure that this one was my selection, so I'm pretty sure that just thematically I wanted to go with something that was closely related to Ban Books Week, which is going to be in September. So it'd be nice for us to kind of read something that kind of I haven't done a check-in since, I haven't done a check-in since, I think Wednesday night when I did the live show. So we are going to head out just to get out the house today.
We're going to the bookstore.
We're going to the bookstore. I am going to be, as you guys have known from the beginning of this video, I had been, or have been reading my first Danmei, and I'm loving it. Spoiler alert. I'm loving it. It's great. I'm eating it up. And so we are on an adventure to go to the bookstore. I'm probably gonna look for some more Danmei. An adventure. Look for some more Danmei. And then we have some other things that we're going to do. But I just wanted to give that update to let you know. I'm about 100 pages into it, and it's really good. It's really, really good. I love the morally gray aspects of it that we're getting with our main character, who I will talk about a little bit more later. dive into like kind of the things that I'm loving about this book so far. But I just wanted to give y'all a heads up on what we're doing, and yeah.
I got a thick donut.
Yes, that too. Hello friends, happy 30 and 30. yeah, because by the time that this goes up, 30 and 30 has already started. Okay, so let's talk about a few things. And this is probably going to be, this is going to be the conclusion to this vlog. And then the vlogs coming after this are specifically going to be 30 and 30 theme. So I'm still trying to decide whether I'm going to stop the numbering, which I think I am, because the vlogs are going to be so specifically 30 and 30. I don't know, I may not. It just depends solely on how I feel. All right, so the last thing that I kind of told y'all was that we were going to, I think the last thing that I said, let me check, because I did so much filming on my phone this week, honestly, because it was just easier, more convenient. Okay, so yes, the last thing that I shot in terms of me talking was when we were about to go run errands, and we went to World Market, we went to the bookstore, and I ended up getting my first 2 volumes of Danmei of the Husky and his White Cat Shizun, and I am enjoying it. Now, I was reading a library copy, so I can't remember exactly where I stopped. I think I stopped at page 151. So one of my goals for 30 and 30 this round is to read 2 Danmei. These take not only a longer time just because I'm going to be reading them physically and they're long, but it also is like a process of me getting adjusted to the names and what's going on, and it is very much so fantasy-esque, and that is a huge adjustment for my brain personally, so I know that these are going to take me a longer time to read. But I have been mentioning this a couple of times throughout this vlog, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about it. This follows a character by the name of Moran, and he was an emperor at one point, not a great one, very, very like bloody, tragic, like kind of reign, and there were some humorous parts in it, but I will say that his reign was very dark. And so when we're in the beginning, we get to know a little bit about the end of his first life, which is not a spoiler because on the back it clearly says that he gets a second chance, reincarnated. And so basically what we're seeing throughout the process of this is him going back and starting from when he's about 15 or 16 and being able to do things over. So there are some aspects of this where he's very aware of what he has done in the past and he's getting the opportunity to redo those moments, but things kind of change because his arch nemesis, I think in some sorts, is his teacher, Chu Wanning, and they did not get along at all. In fact, the whole issue that exists in the beginning of this book, which you figure out is between Moran and Chu Wanning. And then when he is reincarnated, he is getting the opportunity to also see his teacher in a completely different light. And I will say that Chu Wanning does come off a little bit in the beginning as very like cold, calculated, very about business, whereas Moran is very much so a jokester. He's a complete a-hole. There are some very touchy moments here. There's a scene in particular that has a content warning on it in which I feel like Moran engages in some behavior that is extremely inappropriate and crosses into territory of sexual assault. And so we're dealing very much so with a morally gray character. And I was talking to someone else about this, and it seems to be like a common theme among Danmei about dealing with the morally gray character, those characters that very much so have a real human feel about them. And so he's reliving these moments, like I said, in which he's done some horrible things, and he's getting the chance to redo these things, but he's starting to see things through a different lens, and his perception of Chuaning is not the same as it would have been the first go round. So I'm pretty early on. I don't want to give too much away because I do feel like me talking about this in too much specifics will give it away, but I will say it's like him finally getting the opportunity to maybe live his life in a different direction than he did previously. There are some magical elements about this where they're able to have some type of, I believe it is cultivation powers. It's kind of like difficult for me to describe because I'm so new to all of this, but I will say that like these books are beautifully made. Like just the interior artwork, and then the French flaps, I think that's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, so I am planning to work my way through this and continue to read it. And so far I'm really enjoying it. Like when I'm not reading this, I am wanting to pick it up, which is a good thing. So I did end up finishing that. I feel like there's a lot in this vlog, but I also feel like I didn't read that much this week, which is pretty funny. I did end up finishing Skip and Loafer Volume 2. I did return that to the library because I needed to, because somebody was on hold for it, but it was just a wonderful continuation of the series. I forgot in Volume 2 we're kind of seeing the possibility of our main characters like having feelings for each other, and they have kind of like a scuffle or their first like disagreement, and they're both very passive aggressive about it until it comes time where they're like, okay, clearly we need to just sit down and talk about this and not play as if there's not an issue happening between the two of us, which I really liked because, you know, communication is a huge thing for me in my interpersonal relationships, and I liked the way that the two of them kind of figured things out. So I will be continuing that. I'm still trying to make a decision on whether I want to collect Skip and Loafer or not. I think I want to, but we'll see, because I think I did read up to Volume 3 and enjoyed all of the first 3 volumes enough for me to want to collect. I also started reading The Cursed Princess Club Volume 2 this week. I do want to continue this into next week because I need to return this, but I think this is another series that I think I'm going to collect because I love it so much. And there's only 3 volumes right now. The 4th volume is not going to release until next year, so I'm thinking about just going ahead and getting the paperback copies of all of these. Can't really say much about this 2nd volume because it is the 2nd volume and I don't want to spoil it. With 30 and 30 starting, sorry, I need water. I have been so dehydrated lately, and that's not good, and so I'm constantly having to drink water. All right, so let's switch over a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about 30 and 30. What's happening with 30 and 30? I want to do 60 and 30, which I think for me is a bit ambitious considering my schedule. It is my birthday month. It's my child's birthday month. So we have a lot going on this month. Work is going to be busy for me even just this week. I know that work is going to be pretty fast paced for me, so I have to keep that in mind. Prepping for a couple of presentations and stuff that I have to do in October, so that's going to take up a lot of my time this month. But I really want to do 60 and 30. Y'all know in April of this year when we did 30 and 30, I did not reach my goal at all, but I also had a lot of familial things going on in April of this year, and I was trying to work myself out of a lot of things, and so that was just not going to happen. But I'm hoping to do a little bit better this go round, and especially with the leveled up versions of prompts that Shay has given us, I'm hoping that I can kind of make a dent in my own collection and get some series like really read. So I'm 2 volumes in. This is the 2nd day. So technically, if we were doing 30 and 30, I'm on track. I'm good. but with me doing 60 and 30, I am 2 volumes technically behind. But I did read Food Wars Volume 1 for the 3rd time. I read this in 2016, 2019. Oh no, 2016. Yeah, 2016, 2019, and now again. So this is like my 3rd time reading Food Wars Volume 1. It was just as good as the first time that I read it. 4 years. 4 stars. We know how I feel about this series. This is probably one of the series that I talk about the most on my channel. And it is a cooking-based manga, which we all know that I absolutely love and adore. So we're following our main character, Soma Yukihira, who is sent to Totsuki Academy, which is like this huge cooking school in Japan. And it's super intense, and Selma goes there and acts like a complete fool. I mean, basically, because he hasn't been brought up in the culture or community of Totsuki, so he's very much so like, what is all this haughty-taughty behavior? Like, food is food. Like, if you have passion, you're willing to fail. Which he's right, that they get caught up in so much of the elitism surrounding cooking and food that they don't have the passion that they should for it. They don't give themselves the space to fail, and so it stifles really your creativity when you're always like striving for constant perfection. But this is just as good, like I said, as I remember it the first time that I read it. My goal, honestly, is to hopefully make it through 30 volumes of Food Wars. I really am so stuck on not having finished the series, and it's frustrating. The series has been complete. There's a crossover with One Piece, and I just haven't read it and completed it. And I think that I just need to get it done. So I do want to read Volume 2 at some point today, this evening, because it is nighttime. We'll see how that goes. I'm doing Patreon sprints right now. I was doing sprints all weekend. We do a readathon at the end of every single month. We do a 48-hour readathon. And so that's why I actually was able to get a chunk of this read, because of that 48-hour readathon. But yeah, I'm hoping to do a volume of this a day. Even if I don't, you know, I do want to focus on reading a lot of that, which also brings me to the fact that, here we go, Nana Volume 1. So I ended up, I didn't own Volume 1 or 3 of Nana. Now I have the complete series. Don't know why I never owned Volume 1 and 3. I think because I originally started reading this from the library, and then once I got past Volume 3, I started collecting and just never went back and got Volumes 1 and 3. So through this vlog, you probably saw me watching Nana, which I love Nana so very much. We know this is another series that I talk about constantly, but it's not complete. I believe that Ayazawa has another series out, which low-key made me feel some type of way, because before, for the longest time, it was just this and Paradise Kiss, and I'm pretty sure that she has another series out, and I'm like, why haven't we finished Nana though? Like, why are we not getting another volume of Nana? So yeah, I also want to get through a good chunk of this. I've never made it past Volume 8 or 9 of this series. We're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix this. Now, I haven't reread this volume yet. I may read this, and let's see. So yeah, I may tonight read, which is interesting that I actually have Tab Volume 2. I didn't know that I had Tab Volume 2 of Food Wars. I may go through and try to read these 2 this evening. So that's on the docket very, very soon. I also did end up reading A Sign of Affection Volume 4. I did like this one a lot better than Volume 3. Volume 3 I had to give him 3.5 stars because I didn't think that Itsuyomi's, like, his perception of Yuki, I didn't like it. Like, viewing her as fragile because she's deaf, it just read wrong. And sometimes I'm weary of like how things read sometimes because it could be a translation thing, but I wasn't like a fan of it. I liked it, but I was like, I don't, kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But I did like this volume a lot better. This was a lot better, and I think I appreciated his efforts in trying to learn sign language and involving her in those efforts so that like they could communicate better and she wouldn't have to constantly read his lips or type or write things down in order for them to have a conversation. So I appreciated it. I gave this one 4 stars because I did like it better. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to continue to read more for 30 and 30 or if I'll just wait until after 30 and 30 is over with, but we'll see. I also started A Condition Called Love, which is a very interesting manga that I've heard so many things about. I know so many people have read it, and it's different. It's definitely different in that I feel like our male lead he pushes that line a little bit in trying to convince our heroine to give a relationship between the two of them a chance, and give herself the opportunity to kind of fall in love. I get where it's going. I understand, like, you have someone who's very apprehensive about falling in love, doesn't really understand like what love is, would not be upset about not having a romantic relationship, would be content with not having a romantic relationship. I get that, and he's kind of like that person to be like, you know, hey, this is what love is, but it does give kind of like stalkery vibes, you know, like waiting outside her house for 2 hours just so you can walk her to school instead of y'all just scheduling a time where you can meet and walk to school together. But he does some things that like can be viewed as extreme, but for him I think are grand gestures. And so I'm wondering, and the reason why I want to keep reading it is because I'm wondering if they're going to come to a point where they level out, where she is more open and accepting of love, and where he kind of tempers himself down to realize like you don't have to be this extreme for someone to love you. So they're very much so like polar opposites, different ends of the spectrum, and I'm hoping that eventually through the course of the series maybe they meet somewhere in the middle. So I'm reading this one digitally right now. I selected this as a digital copy for our library, so I thought I would pick it up. As far as my plans for the rest of 30 and 30 for this week, I don't know. I think that this week I may prioritize kind of going back and forth between these two and seeing how I feel. I just picked up volume 26 of this series, so I may go back and forth between these two, but I'm not sure just yet. I also which I'm going to film a pickup, like a haul. In my last video I did talk about picking up Punch Drunk Love as well as the Dangerous Convenience Store, so I do want to fit these in at some point. I don't know if they'll be this week. I was going to do a TBR, but like honestly, whether it's manga, comics, graphic novels, or like prose books, TBRs usually I don't function well with TBRs. I need the flexibility to kind of do whatever I want to do. So we'll see. The only two things that I'm sure about so far are going to be those two, and then making my way through my 2 Danmei. And my 2 Danmei literally are going to be in the same series because I just purchased both of these. Now I do have my eyes on some other Danmei that I do want to read, but I felt like in order for me to be able to buy more Danmei, I needed to finish at least 2 first. And the illustrations in here too, y'all, are beautiful. Hold on. Alright, let me see if I can find one. Like, I love the artwork in here. I think it's great, but it is a lot in terms of like text. It's text and getting used to the world and the writing. The writing is very, it does kind of have like a old school vibe to it, a very classic like feel to it. So getting used to that, where it doesn't always feel contemporary, is interesting. But like I said, like I'm really enjoying it. So we'll continue with that. And that'll be it for this vlog, y'all. That'll be it. As always, let me know what you've read this week. Let me know what you're planning to read for 30 and 30 this week. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content from me, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications. If you're looking for ways to support the channel or follow me on social media, all the links will be down in the description box below. And I will be back with another video sometime this week. I'm hoping to do a haul sometime this week, and maybe a August like graphic novel and manga log. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. All right, y'all. Bye.